Kolkata City Sound, it came about a conversation I had with Mrs. Astrid Wege in Moscow probably like 4 years ago. I played a concert there on a festival, and basically at a dinner we had a talk, and she asked me about a project I was involved and still am involved with Istanbul, where I had a longer residency. And I had started a research also about the city of Istanbul, how it sounds, like a kind of sound mapping. It came out of several research projects I had done in the previous 5 years in Southeast Asia. Now looking at the idea of how a city sounds, there is always this obvious layer of what you hear basically when you move through a city, and a lot of sound artists actually working on this, like recording sounds, which is also an important layer in my research. But for me, I decided that another layer which is very important are also the artists, the musicians themselves, because that makes actually cities very unique. For me, it's like also very important to now in this research learn and meet people, because I know like maybe cliches about Indian culture, but I've never been to India before, I've never been to Kolkata before. So now it's really absorbing. It's more like questions and listening and learning and hearing and meeting people. But already in these meetings we had the first 2 days, like I met people, it's amazing, like it's so interesting. And there are certain languages we speak the same, but then there are also very big differences. And I think that's gonna be also part of this project.
What makes this project interesting to me is Ignaz's approach. I know will be different, and I realized that in the first day of meeting him. A very visual approach, connecting the visual aspect of the city to scores and then to electronic music, which is it's not a common way of going about it, because usually someone who thinks in the concept of scores will instantly go into scoring, hence certain types of instrumentation. But here we're talking about use of very contemporary computers and analog synthesizers and samplers and tapes and records and broken records and treated records. So I always knew that his process would be pretty radical. So for me, I'm excited to hear the city through his ears.
So this means a global sign, very important, is just play. This is absolutely free improvisation. Can also be the whole group. You just start playing, listen to each other. So these are mostly the cards I will show up.
It's been a learning experience trying to have a cross between atonal and tonal music, and then having to learn a different set of pictorial cues, which is called graphic scores, and then playing with Indian classical as well as electronic music. So that was a pretty challenging thing, and I must say that the improvised music in some ways have actually over-exceeded my expectations from this project, and I'm really looking forward to having a different kind of outlook on music in the future.
It was very different. It's not something I expected. Actually, I had no frame of reference. I didn't know what to expect, so I came with an open mind but I realized some things which were very interesting for me regarding freedom and necessity and time with regards to music.
This kind of a experience is like very organic, and I'm still pursuing it. It's not. It might take a year to say, actually, to articulate, because I'm still processing the whole process.
আসলে এই ধরনের কাজ আমি আগে কখনো করিনি, অনেক সময় ইউটিউবে দেখেছিলাম, ফলে এইটা আমার কাছে একদম নতুন একটা এক্সপিরিয়েন্স। এবং ইম্প্রোভাইজেশনের যে এরকম একটা ফর্ম হতে পারে, কিভাবে সেটাকে রিড করতে হয়, কিভাবে ভাবতে হয়, এই ভাবনাটা নিশ্চয়ই মানে আমার জন্য একটা অন্য লার্নিং প্রসেস বলা যেতে পারে।
I should say it's very new kind of experience for me, because I never did this kind of music before, so it's really original experience, I should say, because I worked with different jazz musicians, I worked with Japanese music, I worked with Indonesian music, but all those are traditional music. This is the first time I'm working with some experimental form of music, where the form is very graphics or drawing or picture like that, so it's really a marvelous experience for me.
Like you could see that as orange, and then it's more and more yellow, and then it turns more orange. If you don't see it like that, that's what it is.
In this instance, it's a very organic process and it has multiple stages of analog to digital conversion, which is something I find very interesting, because in the analog domain you get a lot of non-linearities, which in this instance is the human being itself. So how we perceive the images is one level of transcoding that is happening, and then how Ignaz, the composer, perceived the images and then, you know, like changed the graphics on the image, added his own transformations to an already vibrant imagery, and that was another process of transcoding and decoding. So the combination of the two gives rise to something very unique.
The whole experience of working with Ignaz Schick has been quite enlightening, because I had been exposed to graphic notations in the past, but not in a formal sense, just in a visual sense, but actually working in an ensemble, understanding how it works, understanding how different composers have approached it, and then working with a composer who's created his own graphic language really made me understand the whole expanse of graphic notation. So in terms of musical evolution, it's been a major step forward working with Ignaz, and really happy to be part of this.
You see, the idea of chance in performance and chance in composition is about 100 years old now. So but it's not something I've practically worked with. So I had certain ideas about it, that this idea of randomness in performance and composition, it came about to give a degree of freedom to the artist, right? You liberate them from the tyranny of the traditional score. What I take back from it is that liberation has its own tyranny. And I will just end by saying that I see it in the necessity of the clock in the performance. This performance could not have happened without the clock, and it's interesting to me why the clock is required.
I did a big pre-selection of the recordings and the snapshots, and I had ideas, but I couldn't really compose so much before the first rehearsal. I proposed a few ideas, I had a few sketches. I was like more like, how you say, like tutorials in the graphic score. I wrote these four tutorial pages, and out of schedule reasons that some had a schedule issue, I had to change the way I rehearsed, and so I started with the hand signs and the conduction, and we started from that. And actually that was a very good moment because we started to really get to know each other as a group musically. And it was from the first day. I was so nervous on the first rehearsal day in November, like I didn't know if it makes any sense and it can go any direction. And everything I gave them, I had a few tryouts of the graphic score, graphic video score. I had a few tutorial pages, and I had the hand signs, and everything I tried on them, it worked with them. And we immediately felt like a group. It's no difference from the first day of rehearsal in November to today or yesterday. Like it was immediately, it's the same spirit in the group. And I couldn't foresee that. I mean, you never foresee that. You have this intuition, and it worked.
Ha 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 ha.